Hey guys, thank you so much for watching Something Interesting with Robert Rucker. I am your host, Robert Rucker, and I'm here with the amazing actor, Mr. Brandon. You know, say something to the camera, yo.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure. I'm literally Brandon's biggest fan, so be mindful that I will be fanboying a little bit. So let's start out, what's your favorite performance? What's been your favorite performance?
I mean, I hate to be that person who loves this most recent stuff, but I really do enjoy Saturday Night, Sunday Morning playing Bobby because, one, I think it's the best character I've had so far. It was my smallest role for sure, but just I've always loved the idea of playing the characters like Conscience, like he's in Gladys's head, because you're just free from like everything else. You can do whatever you want. Like I've had fun on that stage before. Like I've worked with amazing cast, but it was just fun to be that guy, you know. And even though it wasn't like a main role, it's really, if you think about it, like 5 different people, you know, to play. You got the Shakespeare guy, the guy with Taffy's sister, Mabel. You have Bobby when he comes back with one arm. You have Bobby who's like this sex symbol, and then you have this Bobby who's her conscious. So it was a lot of fun to be able to play all those different things. And I was really excited for this year because I grew a lot as an actor over the summer. Like I really got in touch with who I was as a person, which is something I had been struggling with a little bit in my time at college. So when I really got like a new center and a new like found love for myself, it was fun to really put that into the work again. You know, because now it was just like, the way I look at it was like having a new toy to play with, and I just couldn't wait to get back on stage. Like I was telling everybody, I don't care what the show is, I just want to get back on stage. And like it was just so much fun to play Bobby, and I really think that it was me at my best so far.
So you said, you were speaking about the summer. What were you doing during the summer?
Summer, I had this little initiative called Self-Love Summer 17. And so the idea was to be able to connect with myself and see who I was as a person. You know, I'm a very giving person by nature. I'll do anything for the people I love and the people I care about. I'm a very nurturing person, but there comes a time where that balance can get uneven. And I realized that I was expending too much energy on other people while not giving that same energy to myself. I'd always be like, I'll do anything for them, I'll worry about myself later. Unfortunately, it got to a breaking point where I really just got to a really dark place. And over the summer, I rediscovered who I was, and I fell in love with art and music. Like I had this thing where I would combine like modern music to all these old paintings and just see how it would blend together, and then just having that free of mind to just love yourself. There's this saying, and I love it so much, it's like, if I told you to list all the things that you love, how long would it take for you to name yourself? And I realized it would take me a long time before I got to myself, and now I'm at the top. You know, once I got a better idea of who I was, you realize yourself as the instrument, as the artist, and then you got a better idea how to use your instrument for other things. And so when I got back here, I just wanted to put the work in. I just wanted to go back. I just wanted to do anything I could. That's why I've done like 3 shows this semester.
Yeah, already.
Yeah, like I just wanted to work, and I've been blessed to have the opportunity to do all these things.
But what I think is crazy is that you came into Morehouse, and like that was your first production once you got to Morehouse. How? And how did you find this love, you know? Just give us Brandon.
So growing up, I played baseball. I played baseball for 9 years. I was a sport head, I was a jock, whatever you want to call it. Baseball was my everything. And as I got to my senior year of high school, I realized that's not what I wanted to do anymore. I ain't getting no offers, so it kind of made it kind of easy. But I loved it. And when I got to college, I wanted to make sure I do something that I love as much as that. And I'll never forget it. The last movie I saw before I left for Atlanta was Get On Up, the James Brown movie with Chadwick Boseman.
Ah, yes.
And it was just phenomenal. It just blew me away. Like Chadwick Boseman to this day is my favorite actor.
Really?
Yeah. And I was just like, man, I just really want to do that. So I remember I went back home and I was looking up, like trying to find these Morehouse has to have like an acting club or something like that.
I don't even know.
And try to like see what I can do on the side, because I came in a political science major.
Oh wow.
Because one of the last projects I did my senior year of high school was be this lawyer in a mock trial. And then as I was watching that movie and I was looking up acting club and all that kind of stuff, I realized I didn't like the research part of it. I like pretending to be a lawyer. I like the acting part of it. So I got here, and Morehouse's NSO week, I think, is brilliant because they have the pillars, which is just like this amazing, just 7 poets just killing it in front of all these new students and their parents. And I was watching these brothers, I was like, wow, I really want to do that. Like, it's really kicking in. Like, I want to act. And like, it's been my dream since, well, one of my dreams since I was a little kid to act in film, because I like anytime I watch a new movie, like, or a classic movie, I'd run up after I watch the movie and tell my mom about it, and then we talk about it and we go over and over again, and I loved it. Like, I mean, it's like, I don't know why I even played baseball, because like when I was a little kid, I used to do one-man shows at recess, just like for my friends, just like
wow.
Literally, I would stay up the night before, go over my lines, like say, like have all these characters ready, and then just perform for them like after lunch. Everything, like, it was just all leading up to it. And I know the thing that got me for sure was I was watching an interview with Denzel Washington, and he was saying, if you really want to act, you need to do theater, because theater is the basis of everything. And so I was like, that's it. If I'm really going to do this, or I'm really going to take this seriously, I need to do theater. And so I came over here one day, met Professor Wright, said, you need to start taking this class, and, you know, here I am now.
Wow. Wow, here you are now, you know, expert actor. I hope I'm there, you know, my senior year. You have on 2 different shoes. Why? Why do you have on 2 different shoes? Do you just not like the left foot of the chuck?
So I will answer that question, but another question I get is like, is it always the same shoe, like on each foot? The answer is yes. Because if you switch the shoes like to a different foot, I tell people it's like brushing your teeth with the opposite hand. You can do it. It's just gonna feel really weird. But I've been doing this since my freshman year, and I always just kind of did it. But over the summer, as I was focusing on myself, I realized it had like a greater purpose to it. These shoes represent balance, and so that's really important to me. Like, I'm not wearing my necklace right now, but I always like to wear things that remind me of myself. So like, things that are important to me are friendship, because one of my closest friends made me this bracelet. Family, because this is my grandmother's brooch. And then balance. And so each shoe represents opposites. So I mix match the socks as well.
Oh, wow.
Because I always try to have a color and then the clean white. It's not as clean anymore. But I always assign an opposite to each shoe so I can balance myself out. For this week, it's carefree and organized. So I need to make sure like I'm doing what I have to do, but it's also like, it's a celebration, like it's the end of the semester. It's about to be my birthday coming up soon.
Hey, turn up.
And so I just want to make sure I have both, because if it ever gets on one side, then I know I'm out of whack, and I can, it's hard to be in that place. So. And
that's so interesting. It just seems like you really try to understand yourself, like on a whole nother level. Do you think that that's important as an actor, to find yourself before you're finding all of these particular characters?
They tell us all the time, you need to research your character. Do as much background digging as you can. It doesn't make sense to do that for the character if you don't do it for yourself. And the thing is, like, it's like trying to do a monologue without knowing your objective. You can do it, but it's just not going to be as focused. It's not going to be as concrete as you want it to be. And I think people really don't understand themselves as well as they want. You know, like the analogy I have for it is like, if you say your character is like in their mid-20s, that's different than saying your character is 25. And I feel like a lot of people have an understanding of themselves like they're in their mid-20s.
Explain that.
Like, there's like, how old are you?
20.
20. You wouldn't say early 20s when you say it to somebody. In real life, you would never do that. So when we're talking about characters, and they like, if it's in the script, it says early 20s, you have to give it an exact date, because that character is a real person. And as a real person, you would never say my age is early 20s. Like, it's the idea of themselves, you know. And the reason I say that is because it took me 3 months to figure myself out. And that's just me in this moment. You know, there's a lot, as this year went along, I found out some new things about myself because I had to. But like, you have to constantly check in with yourself. And I think that's important, but I think it's hard because we don't want to do that. Because sometimes we're not going to like what we find. You know, like I read this quote the other day. It's hard for people to really get help because they're so used to living inside of the trauma, they don't know what it's like living outside of it. You know, so I think it's just really important to identify with yourself as much as possible. Because the more you're aware of what you do naturally, the more you can change it. But if you're not aware of how to manipulate it, then you can't really do anything.
Post college, undergrad, what's the plan? What are you thinking about doing?
Plan for me is to go into grad school. I know since I got here, Professor Bolden, who's my mentor, who's directed just about every show I've done here, he really pushes grad school. And so my plan is to go to SiRR auditions, which is like the big audition where all these graduate school programs go to. So I'm going to audition for them. I also am planning on auditioning for NYU and Yale because they do their thing separate because they big or whatever. I feel confident that I could go into the industry right out of here, but I really want to be someone who has a sustainable, meaningful career. I just recently went to the African American Museum in DC.
Oh, nice.
They have this old section about acting, like theater, film, and TV.
Yeah, that's my favorite section.
Yeah.
Oh,
you've been there.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, once.
Like, there's a difference between like a really quality actor, but to be a quality actor that's remembered like that, you know, that's what I'm looking for. Like, that means something to me. Not necessarily just to get awards or anything, but to remember it as a cultural figure for Black people. That's incredible. That's one of the heights you can do in any profession, you know. And I think it's going to take a lot of luck and fortunate bounces to get to that point. But I think graduate school is a great way so I can continue to perfect and sharpen my skills before I get there.
So what process do you go through as an actor? Let's say you get a character and he's on the paper. How do you bring him from the paper to life?
Man, it changes every show. Like Hands Up in Color Museum, that's going to be different because that's strictly a monologue. When I'm doing a show like Seven Guitars, which I did my sophomore year, or Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, is different because it's more of a real person who's interacting with people. Like my process now, because like it's changed as I've gotten better at this, it's really trying to do as much research as I can outside of rehearsal. Like I'm kind of jealous of musicians because like people look at their artistry just like, oh, he can play the guitar or something like that, or he can create this music like this. I like to do that with words. I love to look at a script and try to make, like, maybe if I make this word sound like this, I can make the audience feel like that. So to me, it's like, have you ever seen like that Kanye West music video with Runaway where he's just like playing with a beat machine? Like that's how I feel like when I'm working with a script. Like I really want them to feel this in this moment. And so like I try to get that working in my head. And then when I get on my feet, that's when I love playing with Bolden, because Bolden and me will just bounce ideas off each other. At this point, we have such a shorthand and such a trust for each other that he won't ever tell me what to do. He'll tell me either you don't need to do that or try doing something like this. So what's funny is like for Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, what night did you go?
I went Friday night and I went Sunday night.
When we opened on Thursday, literally the day before, Bolden was telling me about the scene where I get like all sexy and all that kind of stuff. Just like all he said was like, "What happens if you unbutton your jacket a little?"
Yeah, no, I think I was there. I was at that rehearsal.
Yeah. Thursday night, opening night, was the first night I did all of that stuff. All the tie loosening, all I've never done any of that before. I just was so sure who that character was that I felt like it would make sense for him to do that. I mean, the crowd really enjoyed it, and it just made sense. And like one of my favorite parts of that moment is going from being the sexy guy to being actually talking with her, because I think that's the best written scene in the show, because it's like everybody's been waiting to see if Bobby would come back to life. But anyway, playing Bobby was really easy because Leanne, played by Jordan, did a great job of making him seem this important. And then working with Alexis as Gladys and getting that, you know, communication, getting that teamwork together, it really brought that scene like we're really as one. So like as far as the process goes, I really just try to get the character as early as possible so I can play with it. And by get it, I mean just like figure out what he's thinking, figure out what he wants, and what would he do if he doesn't get what he wants. This character is kind of different because he doesn't really have a lot of wants in the show since he's mostly doing monologues, but that's usually my process in general.
All right, so Brandon, I want you to do your most dramatic rendition of Bodak Yellow by Cardi B. Yeah.
I'm only gonna do the first little bit.
Okay.
That's it, because I don't know the cadence for the rest of the song. All right. Oh boy.
This is a good one.
Because I know my mom's gonna see this. I apologize
in advance. I can maybe beep it. Beep beep. A little beep.
Okay. It's just which way do I want to do it? Sorry.
No, he good.
Yeah. said, little bitch, you can't fuck with me if you wanted to. These expensive. These red bottoms. These bloody shoes. That's it. That's it.
Oh my God.
That's it.
I really felt it. I was like, oh my, I'm sorry, I don't. But no, yeah, I really truly appreciate it. Like, you coming out, you know, you talking, you giving your advice, your expertise, because you are a phenomenal actor. Literally a phenomenal actor. Being able to experience seeing you on stage, like, it just feels like I'm watching one of the greats. And I'm excited to see where what the future has in store. So with all that sappy shit being said, you can tell the camera your social media, you know, all that.
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Brandon Burditt. It's just my name, regularly spelled, all one word, no caps. Yeah.
Okay. And so thank you so much, Brandon. Really appreciate it, man. And thank you for watching something interesting with Robert Rucker. We got Brandon Burditt today. Yo, yo.